Welcome to Al and the High. Two friends talking crypto and sports. Let's get it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Al and the Ha. Today we have a special guest from the Couple of Nobodies Podcast. My boy Terrence joining us today. What's up, boy?
What's up, dog? You ain't call me Terrence in fucking
I
25 years.
Well,
dog.
nobody knows you, man. My boy T-Hot Bugs.
Shit's weird when people call me Terrence.
It's official.
Yeah, I know.
It's business, man. It's pretty strictly business.
Hey, man, I appreciate you
What's
guys
up, man?
having me on.
Welcome to
dog.
Free in the High, man.
I appreciate
Welcome to
it,
Al and the
man.
High.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, dog. Big fan. I love the podcast so far. I don't know shit about crypto, but I love the sports talk.
Yeah, good. Well, that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to, get people to, understand what's coming, get an idea of what's coming, and then hopefully they can get into a little bit of research and figure it out for themselves.
Definitely. No, I definitely. I need to because I take calls. I work for a bank, so I get a lot of calls about crypto, about Robinhoods. It's kind of the same thing, right? Robinhood accounts, everything like that. So, yeah, I need to kind of know what I'm talking about because I like to be lying to these people.
What is everybody else? Man? You're just as bad as you're the man, dude. You're just like the government.
Oh, man, just take it till you make it, dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this episode we got Terrence on. We're good. Sorry, man. We got T-Hop.
Terrence is cool. I mean, that's my name. That's what my mom named me, so that's good.
We're going to dive into some sports here. Let's jump into the NBA. Obviously today.
How in the hell?
We don't even know.
How in the hell did Harden find his way to Brooklyn, and Houston to get Kyrie back? I saw all the picks. I saw all of that, but my good. And then where is Kyrie anyway? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Obviously, we're going to talk about James Harden got traded today, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe he took some Big Macs with him. Brooklyn, it's going to be interesting because Harden gets traded to Brooklyn, so joining up with KD and Kyrie hanging out at the parties, maskless, I guess. So I don't know what the deal is, but
they got like 6 draft choice, 6 swappable first round. Like it's a booty. They got booty for it, but and Oladipo is good. But I don't know. And I understand they probably lost a lot of leverage when he went on and said what he said to the media. But I don't know if I give up James Harden without getting Kyrie back. And Kyrie is MIA in Brooklyn.
Well, so, that's why you can't do that trade because you don't know if Kyrie's going to show up. And if you're Brooklyn, there's no point in doing the trade because the whole point of the trade is to get those 3 dudes together. If you got to give Kyrie up, if you got to give Kyrie up for James, then you might as well just keep the depth that you have and just run it because they're going to win the East regardless, in my opinion. It's just a matter now they might be able to get the Lakers. I still say Lakers in 6 at the end of the day, but
I just feel like I think Kyrie's Kyrie's better than James. So I would have done it anyway if I was Brooklyn. I get it. You're trying to get all 3 of them together because that forms that package to potentially threaten for a title.
What do they have left?
That's the thing. They get rid of Karis LeVert. Jared Allen's out.
That was their bench scorer. They kept Dunwoody. I know he's hurt.
He's out for the year though.
Oh, is he out for the year?
Out for the year. I did not know that. Yeah, Parcel turned ACL, so he'll be back next year.
I don't know, man.
So you assume one of them is going to be on the floor at all times.
Yeah, or if you do the rotation right, you can keep two on the floor at all times. You do how the Heat did it when they were rocking with the big 3. You start out with all 3, and then 2 are just on the court all the time.
Essentially,
now what I think happens to Brooklyn is they lost all their depth. You get rid of Karis LeVert, you get rid of Jared Allen, so now you got to play DeAndre Jordan. And I don't know if you guys seen DeAndre Jordan play lately. He is ash, like he's trash.
He ain't what he was with the Clippers.
Nah, hell no. Ain't what he was when he was Dallas 2 years ago. He's so bad right now.
And they have Jeff Green, right, coming off.
They got Jeff Green, so that's good. But in a playoff series, Jeff Green he's not going to beat you.
No,
they don't have enough depth.
They're hoping.
And then how many minutes are you going to run KD?
I mean, you can save him for the playoffs at this point. To be honest with you, they're gonna. All you got to do is make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what it is at this point.
It's just a matter of depth with them, though. I was on Twitter today, and they had potential starting 5 for Brooklyn. It was Kyrie, Joe Harris at 2, James at the 3, KD at 4, and DeAndre at the 5. I don't know. I almost think for the future, Houston, I mean, they weren't going to win the title anyway. And they got projected starting five for Houston: John Wall, Oladipo, PJ Tucker, Christian Wood, or Eric Gordon, and then DeMarcus Cousins or Christian Wood at the 5. So I ain't mad at Houston. And then they got a boatload of picks to go with it. For somebody demanding to be out of somewhere, Houston did not do bad in that trade. Like
who plays Chris Bosh? Who's Chris Bosh? Who takes the hammer to their stats just to kind of play that role?
It's gonna be Kyrie.
In my personal opinion, Kyrie's the third best player on that team now. So if anybody's numbers dips, it'll probably be him. But he also the point guard, so he's going to be bringing the ball up. The ball is going to be in his and James Harden's hands most of the time, and KD's going to have to play off of it. So realistically, I think KD's numbers might dip. To be honest,
because it's not like James Harden. Like I haven't really seen James Harden in the position to where. Like it's usually been him and somebody else. Even when he was at if we was Oklahoma City, he really wasn't at the level of the other two. But now he is. You know what I'm saying? We all know like his one-on-one game is pristine. But how does he play with other superstars? Right. You know what I'm saying? Is he sharing the ball? Can he play off the ball? Can he move off the ball? That was one of the issues I think you brought up
with Chris Paul.
A couple with Chris Paul. Chris Paul's like, move, do something. You know what I'm saying? Does he have that?
No. And he really ain't going to do it now, looking like fucking, like you said, Jerome Bettis out there. He's just
That's a great line, by the way.
But it's going to be interesting because they're all ball dominant except for KD. KD can play out the ball, but
KD can play. Yeah, he played with Golden State. So
James and Kyrie are so ball dominant. I mean, you look at that's what was interesting even with Westbrook and Harden last year was their usage rates were like top in the NBA, and they're on the same freaking team. And so when you go slide them over to Brooklyn, the only thing I think is going to save it is you can rest KD, you can rest like Kyrie is always in and out of the lineup. Like I feel like whether he's doing stupid shit like he going to the party and being I don't even know the whole story, but obviously he was on it was on video or picture or something with him not wearing a mask. So the NBA's like making him test.
Well, the fact of the matter, he's MIA.
Oh,
like he signed a fat ass contract and he's MIA. Like that's no bueno. You can't do that.
MIA, he's on PTO. He's on PTO right now. You've never taken PTO? Like give my man a break. I don't even like Kyrie, but he asked for time off. He's on PTO. If he wants to hop on a Zoom call, let him do his thing.
Dog, he's been off for him. All right, but no, all bullshit aside, like come on, bruh. They're paying you all this money or whatever the case may be. You get it together. You're leaving your teammates out to dry. Let's go. Yeah. And you got another piece that you got to fit into the puzzle now.
I feel bad for
shortened season.
Steve Nash is I feel bad for that dude.
He walked into one.
Yeah,
as much as I feel bad for him, the motherfucker got a stacked deck.
Yeah, that's true. Like he ain't gonna be.
I don't feel that bad.
He ain't D Fish out there, first coaching job with the Knicks, and be.
Yeah, he ain't that. Yeah, he ain't that bad. I mean, shit. 3 Hall of Famers.
Yeah. He's got ballers.
Looking like
how he figures out how to get them to work together is that's gonna be a job.
Well, and then again, it's the pieces like we talked about, just the bench and everything else. That's where. I still feel like obviously we're all in the same boat, but we feel like the Lakers are they're so deep. That's
Lakers can go 11 deep. They go 11 deep, dog.
Deep.
So if we get to a playoff series, they might go 9 deep, 8 deep. So I'll take the Lakers 8 or 9 over the Nets, 8 or 9 right now.
And the cool part about it is that you just look at the box score and see the next 5 scores. For the next 5 people that got minutes for the Lakers, they ain't scrubs by any stretch of the imagination. They ain't scrubs. So there's too much depth.
Well, and that's the thing too. Is you look at like Kyrie and James are gonna have to. One of them is gonna have to turn into a catch and shoot
player.
Well, catch and shoot. One of them's gonna have to catch and shoot. Like let's be like
they can shoot though.
That's the thing with the Lakers is like LeBron and AD are good enough. They can catch and shoot. Like. KD can catch and shoot. He obviously has proved that over his career, and he did it in Golden State to the top of the NBA. But Harden, obviously, like we said with Chris Paul, was not a catch and shoot dude. and Kyrie never has been. So even when he was in Cleveland with LeBron let him pull the ball, come up with the ball a lot, let him kind of run the offense, so it's going to be interesting, that little blend there. Either way, it's still like blockbuster, man. Like 14 trade, good for Houston.
Oladipo
on that one. Because
I mean, after yesterday, I've seen every Laker game, so I was watching them run Houston out of the gym the last 2 games, and yesterday you could just tell like James was he was not trying to play. Not trying to play. No effort was given, and then he gets up there. He has that press conference where he basically says we're trash. This team has no talent, so there's no way you can bring him back.
Yeah.
So shout out to Houston. They got what they wanted. 8. I think they got 8.
Boogie might have got his ass at some point.
Yeah, he can't come back in there. He can't come back in there with Boogie.
He probably didn't let him back in the. Probably didn't let him back in the locker room.
Boogie's not having that shit.
Boogie probably walked up to the front office and was like, "You need to trade that motherfucker. I'm gonna whoop his ass
now."
Telling us we have no fucking talent. But
yeah,
it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, so that'll be an interesting little thing going on with the East too. That'll be interesting to see how they kind of fall in there.
Because Philly's playing some good ball. Boston's gonna be there. Miami, if they got to get their shit together, but they'll be there. So.
Yeah,
I think Miami will round out.
Yeah,
I think
it's not going to be no cakewalk
for
them, but
yeah, they'll round out in the form. But the East definitely got more interesting. But I'm not ready to crown Brooklyn just yet, man. I see too many locker room issues, man. You guys, everybody has to be going in that same direction, rolling in at the same speed, and they got a couple guys, going in every which way. So
yeah,
I would like to see them blend, see how they, go around after their All-Star break. I don't even know when that shit is, but after the All-Star break, see how they're blending or whatever the case may be. In that last 10, 15 games going into the playoffs will be big.
Yeah,
especially if they're all fighting for position or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and I feel you're not ready to crown them either. There's just too many new factors. I mean, first factor is new head coach. Steve Nash ain't never coached no playoff game before. Been in them. So his co-head coach is Mike D'Antoni, Mr. No Defense.
Yeah, and so it has James and Kyrie.
So they're gonna have to figure out the defensive end of the ball. They're fighting for it.
He's taking the last shot.
KD sizing somebody up. Kyrie goes and swipes it. Like it's gonna be interesting. The other thing is they're obviously you're gonna have to score a lot to beat them, but I guess luckily they don't have a ton of defense prowess, so scoring 120 against them isn't going to be that big of a deal.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But all jump shooters, so you catch them on a day where their jump is not falling, they can be beaten.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look at Houston. What was that Game 7 a couple years ago against Golden State? Like shot themselves out of the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Like I forgot but it was like they missed like the last 30 shots from 3 or something.
27 straight games.
Jesus. So. Yeah, that could happen. I don't see KD missing that many in a row, but obviously James has before. So, but
and then with that, and the Lakers will beat you up inside. They will whoop your ass inside.
Well, and then DeAndre gets into foul trouble. Then what?
Yeah, it's over.
Red carpet to the rack.
Roster's not over yet. I think Brooklyn gets somebody on the buyout market.
Could.
They need to. I mean, they need to get one more 7-foot. I think the Lakers need to get one more big man on the buyout market.
Yeah.
I wish they didn't get rid of Dwight Howard. To be honest with you, I like Dwight Howard. I like the way he was playing. He was a little thug in there.
Yeah.
Dwight and I keep killing this dude's name. The cat that came over from the Clippers. Like them two together. If he can play a 4, Dwight played a 5. Montrez, man. Oh my goodness, man. I loved Dwight's game with the Lakers last year, and then they just. Even more than JaVale. And I was feeling JaVale a little bit, but it was different when Dwight was in there.
He definitely brought some energy. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like I agree with you, T. See what they kind of add once the trade deadline gets closer, and kind of make that final push.
Yeah, because if they want to, they can go add another big man. I mean, you got the Joe Harris contract. You can flip him for something.
Yeah.
Joe Harris is going to be a hot commodity. You still have Landry Shamet.
Yeah.
Young shooter, you can flip him for just it doesn't have to be the greatest big man. Hell, you can flip him for a fucking JaVale McGee probably available by then.
Yeah, it's true.
All you do need another 7-footer who can set a pick, get a rebound, and have 6 fouls to give.
Yeah, take some fouls.
Especially if your ideal is that you're gonna have to go through the Lakers at some point. You're too small.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Too small right now. So.
And even understanding you got to have to deal with Giannis at some point as well.
Yeah,
You know,
Giannis
he's
and Robin.
they get to he gets to the rim anytime he wants. But you know, you might want to pick up some size over there. You can't have KD being your muscle.
Yeah, it's kind of an issue. Well, let's dive into so LaMelo Ball records his first triple-double. Youngest player to ever do it. Kid's balling, man.
Better than his brother already.
I like him. I asked the question on our first one. But you know what? When he gets minutes, he fills up the stat. He fills up the box sheet. So I like his game, man. I like the boy, man. I like him. Everything about his game, the flashiness, the no look, and he's got a shot. When he's on, he's on. Like he is streaky. But when he can be off, but he can affect the game in other ways. He gets his couple steals a game. You know, I think he's like 12, like 8 and 7 or something like that. And you know, he's starting to get minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he can be very good. I think he's going to be extremely good, better than his brother.
Oh, I mean, he's better than his brother right now. I mean, he was better than the brother the day he got drafted, in my opinion. He's what he does well. He does everything that Lonzo does. He just has more flavor to his offensive game.
Yeah.
To where Lonzo, all he really can do in a half-court set is, you know, take a three-point shot. Lonzo's terrible in the pick and roll. He can't get to the basket. He can't create his own shot. Melo can create his own shot in the half-court, the full-court game. Like he's more dynamic, you know, as an offensive player. Rebounds,
layup game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He rebounds. He guards. He's gonna be a superstar, man. I'm a fan. I was a fan when he got drafted. He's nasty with it. He's 2021's version of Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just
can affect the game. Yeah, can affect the game without scoring.
But yeah, he
and he might end up growing another 2 inches. He's only 19.
Yeah,
he might get another inch or two out of him.
No, he could definitely get bigger. He's definitely showing. You know, he's improving a lot quicker than I thought he would. You know, we talked about on another podcast. You know, before the season started, I said I'd take Lonzo now. But you know, I didn't say ask me in 2 years and see where I'm at. And at this rate, it's. I mean, if LaMelo keeps it up, it's going to be less than 2 years that I would take LaMelo. So, but it's just going to be interesting to see if Charlotte can do anything with him there and build around him a little bit. Which I don't think. I think he's going to end up leaving.
Well, he got 7 years before they could even think about leaving.
Yeah, but
with the way the rookie contracts are set up.
Yeah, but it.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. They're not an easy loss. They're not just going to go in there and win. You know, Gordon Hayward, you know, everyone was talking about, you know, how he got paid, but he's been balling. You know, Rozier's been balling. It's looking like, you know, LaMelo's turning into that sixth man. And they're not an easy out. You know, they're competing with teams. And I would have thought they would be getting blown out, but it's not happening. So
yeah, but
we'll see.
It's one of those. They're not going to compete for a title with what they got. So
hell no.
That's what I'm saying. But, so does he end up staying? And I get you, T. But does he end up staying, or do they build enough around him so he wants to stay? And I guess that's kind of where I was going with that. Like, I get you got that 7 years, but at the rate that Charlotte is going, I mean, surprisingly, even they got Hayward. So what do I know? You know what I mean? So maybe they can attract somebody else. Maybe LaMelo gets good enough where people want to go there and play.
Yeah, I think I'm banking on people are going to want to play with Melo. So you get some shooters, you get some defensive people around them. They're going to have to do what Dallas did, dog. They're going to have to trade for a superstar. You know how they went and got KP when he was available. You're going to do that because, like you said, Charlotte is not a free agent destination. So yeah, they're going to have to go get Anthony. What's my boy's name? Cat, the big cat from Minnesota.
Karl Anthony Towns.
You have to go get a Karl Anthony Towns or a DeAndre Ayton at some point. You know.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go get. You're gonna have to trade for somebody.
Yeah, and they do have some pieces.
Yeah. So, what do you? How far do you think they're away? I mean, I understand it's not this year, but I mean not even next year. But you think, you know, Gordon Hayward, he's not old. You give LaMelo 2 years, and where is he going to be at? Rozier's not a bad player. If they can get another piece, you know what I'm saying? A nice, maybe one of these other, You know, we talk about the Aiden from Phoenix. He gets a couple years. Cat from Minnesota. Maybe he, you know, grab him, or maybe in free agency he wants to go. I don't know how much longer he has on this contract, but what I'm saying is they could be in a year or two a piece away. You know what I'm saying? A big piece and a couple fillers to play defense or whatever the case may be, because Gordon Hayward ain't a turd, and LaMelo is playing his butt off, and Rozier is good.
Right.
You know, how long they can keep him, you know, or whatever the case may be, how that's going to look, we'll see. But I don't know. I think they have something in a couple years. They'll have something.
The problem
if Jordan doesn't mess it up.
I was just gonna say the problem is Jordan runs the front office, and he has yet to prove that he can put anything together. So I don't know. Maybe he attracts a free agent. I don't know. I mean, he is Michael Jordan. So
if he hasn't attracted nobody yet.
That's true. But again, he hasn't had any.
They really haven't. Yeah.
I mean, you have LaMelo, and like I said, he would be the piece that you have to assume that if he's going to keep going and get better, become like a superstar.
Yeah,
that's somebody, and the type of game he plays is kind of like Lonzo too. As much as he doesn't have that offensive game, but I
want to see Lonzo play.
He's a team player, you know. So it's one of those, as a superstar, you know, you get like a Karl Anthony Towns there. Why wouldn't you want to go play with one of those dudes? Like can drive and kick it and put passes right on the money. Like that makes your life a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to also think that if it does come to that restricted free agency and some other team throws a boatload of cash at LaMelo, they're going to match, because he's put, hopefully by that point we're out of this situation we are in, and then he's going to put seats in the stands.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we all know it's about that dollar. So you can't let somebody like that go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So hopefully they probably are waiting. Yeah. Let's get to that restricted free agency and hope one of these teams throw a 4-year, whatever they throw at him for max amount of money, whatever. They'll match.
Oh, they'll max him.
You know what I'm saying? Because in 4 years, who knows how good he'll be.
He'll be able to get one of those super maxes too, being with the team that drafted him. So he'd be throwing away a ton of money. Obviously, we've seen other guys do it too. But when you sit there and look at it, you're throwing away $50-60 million or whatever it ends up being around that time for that extra year.
And it might be his franchise by that point anyway.
Oh, it's his franchise.
No, moving towards it.
What do you mean, man? LeVar's going to buy it out from under Michael.
It's his franchise next year. But they're on a good trajectory. I think this year, it wouldn't surprise me if they make the play-in tournament or whatever. You got to be the 7th through 10th seed. So I would expect them to get into that. I think anything less than that would probably be a failed year in their opinion too. And then next year you know, whatever funds you got for free agent, you got a piece here, you got a piece there. Melo gets a lot better because he's getting better game by game.
Yes.
Yeah.
So next year, you know, you take the next jump, and now you're maybe a top 5 team in the East. And then you just take the slow grind with it. I wouldn't rush this if I'm Charlotte, because they're not going to win it in the next 2-3 years. But you know, 4 years from now, 5 years from now,
Well, like you said, he's only
play the long game.
And Hayward's 29.
Hayward's 29,
yeah. He's on the, you know, so not that he's, you know, Mr. Superstar, but he's a very good piece.
Yeah.
That if you add
he's putting in work right now.
He's essentially, if LaMelo becomes what we think he can become, he could be that number 3. They need to find a 2 or a 1. So, and he would probably play that very well. He's kind of that, plays the role player role kind of very well if he needs to. So.
And the thing about LaMelo, like, you get a boy 28 to 30 minutes, and I think he'll mess around and get a triple double a game, because the assists and the rebounds are just gonna come. His game is gonna they'll come, but it's whether or not is he going to score or not. But the rebounds and assists are gonna be 8-9. If you give him 29 to 30 minutes, it'll be 8-9 every game.
And he's doing this with no NBA offseason. I mean, he got drafted middle of November. And the season started December 22nd. So no summer league, no training with the Charlotte coach or anything like that. This is just off of him and his personal trainer and just his natural skill set. So,
but he's been doing this for the last 7 years, 6-7 years. You know what I'm saying? It's been one spot gone, one spot gone. So he's just been he just plays basketball.
Well, definitely.
Throw him in.
But that's what he's doing though. He's just playing ball. Wait till he gets like the skill set, the nuances, the footwork. You know, you know, they're gonna tweak that jumper a little bit because it's still kind of, you know, it's a little funky.
it's a little lower than it should
A little
be.
lower than it
seems
should
like
be. Yeah.
yeah. If he can get a little up and it, like they won't even block his shot. But,
Then you get him with
I see that too.
NBA weight program, dog. You get him with a strength and conditioning coach,
Get him with whoever Alonzo was working out with.
Yeah, he's he's probably like 180, 185, but he's super skinny.
Yeah.
You know,
like 6'7",
see if he can get to
6'8",
see if he can get to 193, 197.
He should be 2 bills.
Yeah, but then now he's stronger at the rim.
Mm-hmm.
So those little layups he's missing right now, those are gonna go in.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting. Yeah, a few off seasons. I definitely think him going across from playing in Europe and he bouncing around, but playing in Australia and stuff obviously helps his maturity as far as just jumping straight into the league. That Europe and the game across the world is so much closer to the NBA than college basketball is, as far as rules and everything like that. Like college basketball is so archaic.
It's a bunch of motherfuckers not in the NBA, dog. It's just a joke.
Well, but
it just
honestly,
looks different. It looks like a different form of basketball, honestly. When you just sit and you look at it, like it looks like hella hard to score, and it just looks weird.
It's like watching
almost. It's not fluid.
It's like watching Canyon basketball with better players. Like honestly, like it's so structured and not that
it's all about the coaches. College basketball is all about the coaches. It's not so much about the players. That's why the coaches in college basketball are the stars. Your Calipari's, your Coach K's, your Izzos, your Billy Donovan when he was at Florida. It's all about the coaches in their system.
Yeah.
So,
well,
that's why every now and then when you get a dude like Cade Cunningham, Oklahoma State, and that shit just looks easy. He's an NBA player, literally playing against boys. You know what I mean? Like he has no business playing college basketball.
Yeah. They need to get back to they shouldn't have to go to the league at that point. If they're good enough, they want to take that chance, go to the NBA. Like
I just do it how they do baseball, dog. I would have no problem with that. If you want to go straight from high school, go straight to the league. If you end up going to college, you got to go for 2 or 3.
Yeah, no, I agree. If you're going to go, do it like the NFL. If you're going to go, you got to be there for 2 or 3. If not, good luck in the league. They need to make that change.
At least I somewhat understand the NFL because very few high school kids can come straight into the league and survive. You know what I'm saying? But
I don't even know
if you can do it in hockey.
Very few.
If you can do it in hockey, if you can come from high school and play hockey professionally, then you can come from high school and play basketball professionally.
For sure.
There should not be any discrepancies with that. Like I said, the football thing I get. You know what I'm saying? That's just grown ass men flying around. But it's the same in hockey.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it's cool in hockey. So
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But the NCAA needs to figure out something for college basketball. But speaking of NCAA, let's dive into the Alabama-Ohio State National Championship. Yeah.
Yo, both you motherfuckers were dead ass wrong.
Shit. We were.
I was listening to that shit. I was like, you guys sound crazy.
I'm gonna be honest.
Man.
Wishful thinking.
I'm gonna be honest. Like I was wrong, but I did.
Just say you didn't want the evil empire to win.
That has nothing to do with that. Shit. Good for Nick Saban. All honesty, Ohio State. This is what I'm gonna say. Devontae Smith is on another level, but
dominant, dog.
And Najee Harris is on another level, but everywhere else across the board, there isn't a huge difference. And for me, Ohio State's defensive game plan was so trash. I have no clue what they thought they were going to do. They were out there in a 4-4.
Stop them in the red zone. Stop them in the red zone.
But what are you doing?
That was the plan.
Linebackers, and then you have. It almost looked like they didn't want to be there. In my honest opinion, you look at Sean Wade and some of those DBs chasing Devontae on motions. They're jogging, and I get it. The first time he does it. Okay, you got me. But the next time you're still jogging, I don't get it. And then like I said, you're not matching personnel whatsoever. So, and then you're not going to pressure. You're not getting any pressure. It's one thing to start off that way. You're not getting any pressure on Mac Jones, and then you're just going to keep letting him pick you apart. Like he was nowhere. No one was near him all night.
Well, to their defense, Ohio State was down 3 defensive line starters.
But that's my point. So what are you doing? Just rushing 4?
Just rushing 4, yeah.
Like,
yeah, I don't know what could have been done, dog. I mean, that offense. I mean, I know a lot of people said LSU's offense last year was like the greatest offense they've seen in college football, but I don't know, man. That Bama offense that shit was clockwork because they had a dominant receiver and then a dominant running back and then an SEC offensive line. And then you had the fucking guru calling the plays. Like, Sark was in his bag all season long. And so whatever Ohio State tried to do, Sark just it was really out coaching, in my opinion.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Ohio State's defensive coordinator, like, I don't know what Ryan Day, like, he's got to make a change because you can't go into that game. I'm assuming he knew what the game plan was, though. So that's what you have to assume that. But
I don't think they want to give up any big plays. I think that's what it was. They didn't want any one-hit quitters. They didn't want anybody going 60 or whatever the case may be. So they were going to give up the. I get you. At some point, we gotta swap up and we gotta switch something.
Halfway through the second quarter, it wasn't working.
I know.
They were giving up the big plays. So
you guys are you're more defensive minded than I am. I don't know what Ohio State defense could have done.
Well, I don't know what
they would have done.
For me, and I get it. It could have been the same result, but you're literally sitting there doing the same shit that hasn't been working. And you don't change. Like, you have to try to confuse somebody. Mac Jones is not a great athlete. And so, but you're going to let him. You saw the one time he had pressure coming off the edge, he fumbled.
Mm-hmm.
And it really was an automatic. It wasn't like it was a called blitz. It was for sure an automatic off the motion. That linebacker, I think it was Browning, came off the edge and caused the fumble. But they didn't pressure the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
They sat back. And every once in a while, you'd see automatics. You'd see the motion, and Browning or the other outside backer, I forgot his name, would come off the edge.
I think what got them scared was because the same rush that they had that they ended up getting the fumble on, they got beat for a touchdown. I think was the next drive when it was automatic. Yeah. Najee came out for the swing, and he ended up throwing that swing.
Again, though, there's guys like I think it was one of the linebackers jogging out. Not that he would have caught him, but if you go back and watch that play, the linebacker's jogging out. So it just kind of looked like Sean Wade looked awful.
He should have never came back to school. He lost money.
He for sure. And then even if you got to figure he came back to school, even if you sit there and say, okay, he didn't lose anything going into that game, he lost it going into that game.
Yeah, well, no, he didn't play well. I'm like you. I watched a lot of. He didn't play well all season.
But my point is he looked even worse.
Even worse. Even worse, yeah.
I get it. Like, you get beat by Devontae one-on-one, whatever. But you're literally, like, watching him run across the field, like, you showed no speed. And then even when he tried to kick it in to catch, I don't even remember if it was Devontae, but he tried to catch one of them.
Bolden, Slay.
Yeah. Tried to catch one of them, and he still looked slow.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, man. It was so bad. But for a minute there, I thought Ohio State offensively was going to be able to at least keep it close. But
that's where I was kind of going with it.
Yeah, going to the game, I thought it was going to be a track meet because Alabama's defense wasn't, it wasn't the greatest defense because they gave up like 52 to Ole Miss, so I thought it was going to be one of those.
Well, and that's where I was going
And then Ohio State came in hot. They off that last game, I thought they would bring at least a little bit of that in there, and it just didn't pan out that way.
They started to. I mean, it was 14-14, and then fucking – Ohio State got the ball. Yeah, they got the. Then it was 21-14. Ohio State was driving, and they had to settle for that field goal.
Yeah.
And once it went to 21-17, you haven't stopped them yet. I knew the game was over right then and there.
Yeah, Trey Sermon gets hurt on the first carry. Not that makes a. I think that changes some of those.
I think that changed the game plan because Master Teague wasn't practicing.
Well, and you got to look at some of those runs that Teague did break into the secondary. Sermon is taking for 40, 50, whereas Master Teague's taken for 20. So that could have changed some things. Watching that game though, he's not. What was the final? I don't even freaking remember, but he's not
52-24.
Yeah, he's not fucking half a point under the over. So we lost that too. That kid. I was watching the game and Alabama was like, I'm like, oh,
well, you would have got it, but they fucked him on that touchdown.
Yeah,
his foot was down.
Yeah, the left foot was down on that for sure.
Left foot was down.
The kicker is what was it? It was the game, one of the NFL games, I think. I can't remember what it was, but there was a touchdown that shouldn't have been a touchdown, and like the receiver caught it on the sideline in the end zone, bobbled it kind of, and you could see the right hand came off, and you could see the left hand kind of come off the ball a little bit, and they still called it a touchdown. But so that's the thing with the replay. Like, if you're gonna go replay it, get it fucking right. Like, don't waste my time and then sit there. Like that touchdown for Ohio State at the end there. Not that it meant anything, but when you go back and watch it, he had the ball, his left foot was down. So I don't know what they were looking at, but Devontae ends up breaking his fingers or hands. I haven't looked into it, but
yeah, dislocated his pinky, and they couldn't get it back in. That's why he didn't go back in the game.
But yeah, he. I mean, lucky for Ohio State because it could have been worse. He was.
Yeah, they had no answers.
12 for 2.
They were the epitome of the big three. So kind of like the way Dallas was, because I think Najee, he did what he did on the ground, but he still had like 7 or 8 carries.
Yeah.
I mean, catches for like 70 yards or whatever the case may be.
Najee was at 22 carries for 79 yards, 2 tugs, and he had 7 catches for 79 in a tug. And we touched on that on the podcast. Like, he's so good in the backfield.
Yeah, that's $150 there, and he's still
he should be a top 15. He should be a top 15 pick.
Oh, he's for sure. Him and Etienne, for sure, the top 2 backs.
Yeah,
and Najee is just so much bigger. It's gonna be.
Yeah.
I like that comparison you had, Steven Jackson. I like that shit.
Yeah,
like until you said it, I was like, yeah, I see a Steven St. Louis Rams Steven Jackson. Not that shit he was doing in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah, not he doesn't have that initial burst. He doesn't have that 4.39 or whatever Steven Jackson ran, but he reminds me of him a lot.
Yeah.
Do you guys think Justin Fields hurt his stock this year?
I
personally don't think he played that. I think he had a bad game against Northwestern. I'll give him that. And he threw 3 picks against Indiana, but I got to go back and look at them, but not all picks are created different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is it an anticipation pick? Because when Deshaun came out, Deshaun had like 19 picks that year.
Yeah.
But all his I think they said 13 of his picks were off anticipation, where he was throwing the receivers open and the receivers just weren't coming out their breaks. So in the NFL, those same picks he threw in college aren't going to happen in the league. And once again, Deshaun hasn't thrown that many picks in the NFL. I think that's kind of what Justin was doing this year.
No, they obviously, I mean, the Big Ten fucked up. Like they had a little bit of a spring ball, and then essentially could not meet in summer, and they had like 2 weeks before the season started.
Yeah.
But I don't think his draft stock, and for the main part, I think nobody else is going to pass him. I mean,
yeah, I think he came in as the second best quarterback, and I think he's leaving. Like, you don't have to sit here and tell me the BYU kid is better than him, Zach Wilson.
No, I'm not taking Wilson. Jones ain't better than him.
Not taking Jones. I'm not taking Kyle Trask.
Yeah.
I'm not taking the kid from North Dakota State.
No.
I'm thinking the whole Justin Herbert deal about how he was ranked behind 2 and all that kind of stuff. One of these coaches are going to look at the film and like it could have been the offense, because I'll tell you this, I was shocked at what Herbert did in the pros this year because I didn't see that in college.
He was god awful. I thought he was so terrible all 4 years.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing is now we see that was more the offense than anything. Is Fields in that same boat? You know what I'm saying? Because obviously he can make the throws. Like we saw the performance he put on against Clemson. Like, so it's in there.
Well, the thing about Fields, my bad. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Go ahead. No. Got you. Go ahead.
The thing I like about Ohio State runs like a pro-style passing attack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different than what Herbert did, and even what Trevor Lawrence. Like, yeah. I'm literally down the street from Clemson, so I watched every single one of their games. Those fools are just all vertical throws and bubble screens, and that's their offense. There's no crossing routes like how Ohio State does. There's no option route. There's no. It's not complex at all. So from a reading a defense standpoint, I think Fields is already ahead of the game. So if anything, I think Fields has a head start in the NFL than Trevor Lawrence. It wouldn't surprise me if Trevor Lawrence struggles in the league.
Well, and again, it depends on where do they go too. I mean, that's a huge part of it. You could say what you want about whoever, but what situation these kids get into, it determines a lot. If they get into a situation that they don't have help around them, the coach isn't that good, it's going to hurt one or the other, or it's the same. If one of them were to, I don't know, somehow get with, depending on who the Jets hire and the Jaguars, they could have a phenomenal career, or it could be awful. They could be.
I got a question. So what do you guys think happens if the Texans trade Watson to
the 49ers?
Miami, to Miami for Tua, and Tua goes to the Texans? What do you think that does to his career? I know it's hella highly speculative right now, but
depends who they hire.
What does that do? Did the Texans fire their coach?
Yeah, Bill O'Brien's been out. They fired him like halfway through the year.
So they already got rid of him?
Yeah, they fired Bill O'Brien like halfway through the year.
Oh, actually, you know what? Are you? Yeah, man. Yeah, it's going to be freaking interesting, man. Because I haven't seen once I was looking at that game and I was like, because I would watch the first part of it, but once those clowns didn't do anything, I was like, are they going to even try and stop them?
Dude, there was nobody. All the throws Mac Jones made nobody was near him. Like, he had no difficult throws all game.
Yeah.
And that's my thing. It's like, you got to put somebody in his face. Like, make him. That's fine. Give up the big play, but put somebody in his face. Make him make that throw and take the hit.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I thought Ohio State was going to at least be able to score. I thought they were going to get a couple big plays, and it just
I think Trey Sermon getting out hurt them a little bit, but it just, there was no adjustments on Ohio State's part. Like I said, for Mac Jones to sit in the pocket, he was 36 of 45 for 464.
5 tugs.
Yeah, 5 tugs. He had no pressure. And the throws he was having to make were not difficult. Like, and that's where I was saying, like, change it up. Even if you bring pressure, and I get it, you don't want to give up the big play, but you bring pressure, make him make the throw and take the hit. Like, make him make the man-to-man throw, because if he misses, if he throws it behind somebody, man, that leads to interceptions.
Right.
Turnovers. And I get it, you can give it the big play, but you're not stopping them. So halfway through the second quarter, fuck it. Like, I'm sending the house
to the K to his ass.
And trust me, like, coaching with Dean last year, like, I was calling the defense, and it was to the point, and we both coached quarterbacks, and it got to a point where it was like, hit him, like, put somebody in his face and make him make the plays. And that's ultimately, you have to make the quarterback. If they do it, they do it. But otherwise, sitting back, they're going to pick you apart. So it was just a bad over. I don't see how he stays that defensive coordinator at Ohio State, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know what the D coordinator is. Yeah, but it wasn't a good performance. That's for damn sure.
They look, for all that talk about them looking fresh against Clemson, they looked fucking slow. They did not look fresh. So they obviously blew their load against Clemson, and probably had a little bit of that revenge factor in from the year before, so they were probably extra hyped.
Well, that and all that shit Dabo was talking. Yeah,
so I'm sure that had something to do with the way they played. But let's jump into some NFL playoffs here. We won't touch too much on the first round, but coming up this weekend, we got the Rams and the Packers and the Bucks and the Saints in the NFC, and then the Ravens and the Bills and Browns and the Chiefs in the NFC. So definitely surprises in the first round there, and then again, not so much. So Steelers get whacked by the Browns, and honestly, like, good for the Browns.
I'm sorry.
Trust me, I love it too. Like, I wanted the Browns to win. I just didn't think without Stefanski that they were going to be able to pull it out. But talk about, like, the worst case scenario for the Steelers to happen, like to get jumped out on like that.
Yeah.
And what was it? The first play of the game, Pouncey snaps it over Ben's head.
Touchdown, game over.
Touchdown. Yeah, game over essentially. I
think 3 picks didn't help.
Yeah. But they go 3 and out, I think, the next series, or maybe they get a first down, and the Browns go right down the field, score again.
14-0, come down, Big Ben throw the pick, come down, score, it's 21-0.
Right. And it's one of those, like, and I've talked about this. I was on Twitter back and forth with our boy Sam, because he's a
Gary?
Steelers fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see so much of the, Big Ben needs to be gone. Hate, and it's like, okay, you're narrowing down. That's the problem. Well, what's the solution? Because the solution isn't him gone. Because who's your solution? Mason Rudolph? You're not drafting somebody where you're at. So what is your solution at this point? Like, your solution has to be a change of philosophy.
Jameis.
Like, maybe somebody like that, but here's the thing: you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can't run the ball.
Can't run the ball. They can't run the ball.
We talked about that. They were trending down heading into the playoffs,
right?
And they couldn't run the ball.
And my thing
could not run the ball.
Nobody was really talking about Big Ben when they were 11-0. So you can't blame him for the 1-5. Like, if you have to look at the beginning of the year, they were able to run the ball, and something happened, and they were last in the league. So you have to change a philosophy there. Even if you bring in a Jameis, you've seen what Jameis does in an offense that slings it all over the place. He throws 30 picks.
Yeah, he'll throw picks.
So you're trading Ben Roethlisberger, who you're pissed off for throwing 4 picks in a playoff game, for Jameis Winston, who's going to throw 30 over the season, and you're not going to make the playoffs. So there's got to be – you have to find a solution. Even if you have Jameis, you have to be able to run the football.
Yeah, whatever draft picks they have, they need to go. They need to upgrade that old line. I don't know if it's guards or tackles. I know Zach Banner was hurt all year, so he's a big right tackle for them. I mean, terrible at pass blocking. I've seen that for freaking 4 years at SC. He can run block. So I'm sure that doesn't help. But yeah, they gotta get some O line help. Another running back. I don't think James Conner is your every down back. I think he's proven that he's not.
No.
And then. I don't think Big Ben. I think Big Ben got another year or two left. He wasn't Phillip Rivers bad. Like, I think Phillip Rivers stayed a year too long. But he just doesn't push the ball down the field. So your offense does need to become a little bit more dynamic. I don't know. And they got the receivers who can go get it.
Well, I think I remember seeing interviews about that, and it was Ben wanted to kind of do that because I think he was wanting to stay healthy. I think coming off that elbow surgery, he didn't want to take the shot. So he was, instead of like hanging around in the pocket and moving around like he's always done it. There's that funny ass video of him at training camp where the GA or whoever the coaches are throwing the bags at him in the quarterback drill, and he's just hitting them and throwing the ball, but that's how he's always played.
Yeah.
And you turn around this year and he's trying to get the ball out, so he's not taking the shots. And obviously that works. Tom Brady does it, so obviously that type of style works. And he has the arm strength. It's just the timing of he's not wanting to get hit. And it goes back to the O-line.
Call me crazy, but Tom Brady moves better in the pocket than Big Ben does.
Well, because Ben's never had to do it, really. Like, if you think about it, like, he just bounces off people and kind of moves around and then throws it.
He needs a running game, man.
Yeah.
Running game.
Even this year, Tom Brady had a running game.
Rojo had a career year. You got Leonard Fournette as a backup. Yeah.
Now, granted, they were loaded outside, but they had a running game.
Right.
Ben, everybody knows what happened if he's got to drop back 45, 50 times.
He's done that his whole career.
Even if I understand that, but
no, I'm saying when he has had to do that, he's thrown picks his whole career. He's never been like that. I've never considered him a top.
He's a gunslinger.
He's the 5 to 10 range, but he's never, from my opinion, broken into that. So for you to sit there and I got to sling it 50 times, when you look at, and you mentioned Phillip Rivers, he's had this was probably his best year in multiple. I don't even know how.
Why? In 5.
But why?
The
run game. Jonathan Taylor, Matt got hurt, I think, early in the season, but Jonathan Taylor is arguably, if Justin Herbert doesn't have the year he has, he's rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year, yeah.
So you look at, it's not
the receiver from Minnesota.
Let's look at all the
I feel that
in the NFL. Other than the Chiefs, you look at any of the teams that are in the playoffs still, what do? They're able to play football. So I get it. He's old. He's $40 million on the cap is going to kill. That's why I think has been.
That's more of a problem than anything.
Well, but the problem is I mentioned to my boy Sam, okay, you cut him, it's $20 million in dead cap. So you're saving $20 million, but now you got $20 million that you can't use.
Yep.
So you're still you have him for 1 year. If you could restructure,
and you still need a quarterback,
right? If you could restructure and potentially shorten that, or not shorten the contract, he's only got 1 year left, but move that money around somewhere, and get it to him where he's not a hit on the cap, then that's the way to do it. You have one more year with him, then maybe you could draft somebody late and kind of bring him in, and so I don't know. Anyway, so the Browns are playing the Chiefs. Baker Mayfield's been balling, but that running back. Look at the running game.
Mm-hmm.
Kareem Hunt and Chubb are ridiculous.
Yeah, if they can control that clock, hopefully get up by 2 scores. If they can find a way to stay up by 2 scores in the second half, they got action and just play keep away. But we talked about this last time. If Mahomes has the ball, the Chiefs are like Deion Sanders. They'll run fast enough to beat you. They won't blast you, but they'll run fast enough to beat you. So I think they'll pull that off. The Browns, they start fast because you have to assume the Chiefs are going to come out somewhat sluggish because they didn't even play the last week. I think they rested all those starters and they were on a bye week last week.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So they're on 2 weeks of chilling. They'll be fresh. Yeah.
I'm not listening to you anymore. They're going to come out and they're going to be up 14 before we know it. We're so wrong. Like we're actually. They're going to come out fresh and crisper than they've looked in 10 weeks.
Yeah, I think Chiefs are going to blast Cleveland.
I think it'll be close. I think it'll be close early, and what's going to probably end up happening is the Browns are going to end up like 2 or 3 drives in a row where they don't get any points, and the Chiefs will open it up on them. I think.
Yeah.
They just defensively they're not good. If they can get pass rush maybe, but their secondary is so bad. And then you have the Ravens and the Bills. That's going to be a hell of a game.
Snow game. Lamar's a little scared of the snow he was talking about. So we shall see. But boys, I gotta get back to work, man. Thank you so much for letting me come through, talk a little sports with you guys. Big fan of the podcast. Keep doing your thing. We got to do a crossover one.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get on there.
Yeah.
So we'll figure that out.
Back on here again.
Whenever send the invite, I'm here, dog.
Sounds good, bro.
Appreciate you guys, man. Love you, Alex. Have a good one, man.
Later, folks.
Take it easy, man.
All right, brother.
All right, so Ravens and Bills. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a slugfest, man. Like I really
me too.
do. It's gonna be a hell of a game. I'm actually really excited about that game this weekend.
It's going to be interesting to see how the Bills run the game. We're talking that snow game. Josh Allen can run, and we all know he can sling it. How well is Lamar going to play?
Yeah.
How well is he going to be able to throw the ball? But yeah, it's going to be a snot-nosed type of game.
Is that Ravens defense going to show up like they did last week? I mean, they held Derrick Henry to 40 yards. Like
they better.
Talk about they're going to have to, and so that'll be an interesting game. I still think the Bills. I think the interesting part is the Colts. I thought played better than them. They just made more mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You had multiple mistakes by the Colts in that game that, third down misses or penalties or whatever that cost them that game. But I think the Bills, it was their first playoff game since '94, so obviously they're probably a little amped up, probably a little nervous or whatever, and all those guys on that team have been in the playoffs, so that'll be an interesting game. Going to the NFC.
Fun to watch.
Going to the NFC, we got Bucks and the Saints. The two of the old dudes. Bucks get them this time.
I'm going with yes. I think the Bucks get them. I do. I really do.
It's so hard. I get it. The Saints. So
the Saints will win, but
2 games in a row this season. Just put it on.
But I don't think they were. The Bucks seem to be playing different right now.
Yeah, no, I think they figured some things
woke
out.
up a little bit.
He's gotten his rust off of him a little bit. Drew Brees, I don't know. He's still. I mean, I get it. Chicago's got a decent defense, but they only put up 21 on them, and that's kind of concerning when you look at what the Bucks defensively can do if they're on their game.
If the Bucks offense are on their game, like who do you double? Like seriously, who do you double? And then if you're thinking about doubling somebody, then you're really going to leave 6 in the box or 7 in the box for Fournette.
Yeah, and I think Jones will be back. I think he was out on COVID. Like you got Cameron Brate this last game, who's the backup tight end to Gronk, went off. That's gonna be an interesting game. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Bucks pull it out. I think it's gonna be a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it goes back to, if this was if the Superdome could be packed, I would probably take
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Neutral
they're at a
sites,
neutral
man.
site. Like I get it. The Saints are used to the facility, whatever, but
It's like the bubble. It's like playing in the NBA bubble. Now, Green
the
Bay,
NFL facility,
they're going to have,
that's a little different.
That's different.
But
yeah.
But yeah, the Rams and the Packers. So the Rams snuck one out. I mean, we both picked Seattle.
Yeah.
And then the Seahawks
maybe
firing Brian Schottenheimer, their offensive coordinator, I think yesterday, which I wasn't surprised with. I kind of was thinking that as I was watching the game. Like their offense is literally Russell Wilson drop back and look. Like it's almost like there's no timing to it. There's no rhythm to it. It's like, look, if you don't see anybody kind of move around and play scramble drill.
Make something happen.
Because you really look, the only thing they really did offensively was that bomb to DK Metcalf, and that was scramble drill. And the Rams defense was on lockdown, so that'll be interesting to see how they match up with the Packers. But again, Lambeau, middle of January, Southern California team, and you got Jared Goff with coming off of that thumb surgery. How's he going to be able to hold on to that ball? So it's going to be interesting to see.
Warm up the hand. Yeah, it should be. They got Rams must run the ball.
Yeah.
Like they have to. Even considering that the fact that they're in, I would say at least 85% of their pass game seems to be off of play action, but they have to, just to protect him, control the clock, the whole nine. They have to run the ball.
No, I agree.
And then their D has to show up again.
For sure. D for sure has to show up. Otherwise, it's going to be a rout. If the D doesn't show up, Packers are going to roll. It's not even going to be close. But
but I will say this: the Rams can't. They don't necessarily have to worry about doubling Adams. You know what I'm saying? They can play him straight up and then just kind of play defense with everybody else and then kind of take their chances. And hey, if your best guy beats our best guy, it is what it is type of situation. But they should be able to play straight up and at least have action at, if everybody does their job.
LaFleur, that offense, it's kind of like Shanahan and some of these offenses. You have to stop even the Rams to an extent. You have to stop because they run play action so much, and everything's based off of their certain runs and their zone and outside zone scheme. If you can stop the run, you definitely have a shot there, because then it turns into you're doing something that you're not comfortable with. Maybe Aaron Rodgers obviously is comfortable, but this offense isn't comfortable in it. It's not meant to sling the ball 50 times a game. So if the Rams can slow them down, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting too to see Aaron Donald went out with that rib injury. It's going to be cold. Those hits hurt a little bit more.
I got to warm it up. And offensive linemen, they
give a hook shot.
Yeah, onesie twosie.
Yeah, little 1-2 to the ribs, and nobody's gonna know about it. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun NFL weekend. I'm really excited about that Ravens-Bills game though. And then in other NFL news, Philadelphia Eagles fired Doug Peterson.
Imagine that.
Yeah, go figure. Obviously, the GM or the president, what's his name, Jeffrey Lurie, came out and said they wanted to go different. Their visions were different. To me, that they did not like the fact that he put in Sudfeld at the end of the game. Whether that was, maybe the final straw in the back, could have been. Maybe they were already thinking that way. Ultimately, I feel like they chose Carson Wentz over Doug Peterson, which you're in him for that much money. You can't just at that point.
We talked about that.
Yeah, what do you?
We discussed how are they going to get out of that?
Right.
So go
ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, does that make Jalen Hurts trade bait?
Maybe. That's the thing, is you have to assume with that happening that Howie Roseman, the GM, and Jeff Lurie are all in on Carson Wentz. So you have to assume that next coach that's going to come in has to already be like, okay, well, Carson's our dude. We're paying him this much money. You need to get him back to where he was. And you got to think, before that year they won the Super Bowl and Nick Foles came in, he was in the league. Like everybody was talking about league MVP for him.
Yeah.
He blows his knee out. So he obviously is capable. I just feel like that relationship with Doug Peterson was so severely broken. Like if if Doug Peterson was going to stay, Carson Wentz was going to have to leave and potentially, resurrect his career somewhere else. But it's going to be interesting. But I feel like that's the worst job. You want my honest opinion? Like you're looking at, you have a GM and a president who are obviously all in on the code on the quarterback,
on the player,
which doesn't happen in the NFL. Like the NFL is that one sport where the coach usually, if you're a good coach, you're there. You have a few players where Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, and
right.
Some of those dudes, but
not a 4-year guy.
Yeah, this was strictly like a business decision. So you have to think of that as a coach. Like, I'm going in here. If I don't turn this around quick, and they went to the Super Bowl 3 years ago. They won the division last year.
Yeah.
And you fired the coach. So
how much time do I have?
Right. Is this a struggle a little bit the first year I'm gone? Now, luckily they play in the NFC East. So
yeah, that helps a little bit.
Their cap is so awful. They're going to have to get rid of some guys. They're old. So, and that's the other thing. It's just the roster's bad.
Yeah.
They've done an awful job putting that team together.
Not a good situation. Not a good situation.
So, and then going on to just a couple defensive coordinators were hired. So Dallas hired Dan Quinn as their DC, who was he was up in Seattle for this little Super Bowl run. He's the one that kind of created that Legion of Boom, went to Atlanta. And honestly, did a pretty good job in Atlanta until these last couple of years, like we talked about before. After that Super Bowl, he just could not right the ship. And I don't know if it was a mental thing with them giving up that lead. They had a lot of the same players. They didn't have a lot of turnover. So I don't know what was going on with it. Maybe it was something internal where the players felt like the coaches in that Super Bowl did something. So it turned, it just was bad all over the place. I think it's a good hire for Dallas.
It's a fresh start, and it's going to come down to Dallas has dudes. They got some dudes on defense, so it's just the guys buying in, and that's ultimately what it boils down to. Can a defensive coordinator get these guys to understand what he wants? The guys buy into it and just do their damn job.
Right.
They have the ability to do it. Obviously, they wouldn't be there and they're not making all that money. It's just, what are they not understanding about the scheme that's going on, or whatever you're trying to present week to week, that you're getting picked apart every week?
Yeah. And like you said, they have the players. They're obviously paying them, but you have like Jalen Smith in the middle, and it was smart on their part. You hired Dan Quinn. He runs the 4-3, like covered 3 base, obviously. You have those players. You have the edge rushers. You have the middle linebacker. The one corner, Woozie or whatever, he's played at Colorado. He's kind of that cover 3, like zone kind of corner. So you have some pieces there that I feel like I feel like it's a good hire. Like I said, Dan Quinn didn't do an awful job in Atlanta. Like, he gets fired, he leaves there, I think, with a winning record, and they bring him in. He goes back to his defensive role. Last time he was a defensive coordinator, he was up in Seattle. So, and that was when they were really good on defense.
But 4-3 bases are just easier. They're easier for even learning.
Right.
A 3-4, geez Louise.
Yeah, there's so much to it.
There's so much to it.
And that's what I'm saying.
So many variations there can be to it.
Right. And Jalen Smith, he's so athletic and so fast. Sitting him there in the middle, I think he's going to have.
Let him play.
Yeah. So that was a good hire by Dallas. Probably, honestly, it was a better hire than McCarthy as a head coach. So I don't know who pulled the trigger on that, whether it was McCarthy or Jerry or whatever. But I feel like it's a good hire. I think their defense will turn around next year. And then your Raiders, they hired Gus Bradley as the DC, bring him in, another 4-3 cover 3 guy.
Well, where is he from? I don't even know this cat.
He was the coach for the Jaguars before. I think he just got fired this year, but he was the one. Like, I forgot where he was before that, but he's a defensive dude, 4-3 cover 3 guy. He was calling, and basically got brought in. He installed that defense when they made that run to the championship, and they had Jalen Ramsey, and that defense was ridiculous. And went to the AFC Championship with Blake Bortles at quarterback.
Well, this is what I'm going to say, and is kind of going to mirror what I said about the Cowboys. Bringing in a 4-3, I like it. I like it because of the simplicity of it. I like watching Seattle's Legion of Boom play, because it was easy. They straight cover 3. The corners knew what they had. Don't get BD.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Do enough film, recognize route combinations and all that kind of stuff, and you can drive on balls. But wasn't that much man to man. They got to get pass rushers.
Yeah,
They got to
Focused on
get
a few.
consistent. They got to get 4 guys on the field that can get after, because we all know if you can get pressure with those 4 guys and they're playing zone behind it, that's when you can jump shit. You know what I'm saying? The quarterback's is on the timer. If it isn't out by a certain time, he's running, and then we still got everybody staring at his ass, matching up to where everybody else is down the field.
Right.
But it's got to be simple. Like when I watched the Raiders play this year, especially on defense,
they're young.
They just look lost.
Yeah. Well, they're young.
Like,
and it goes back to, it's almost that Jonathan Abrams. Like, he just wants to run and hit. And this is the perfect. He now rolls into that like Cam Chancellor role in this defense. So he's kind of that. He's that runner hitter that he's a heat seeker, man. And I feel like that some of the defenses, and you look at some of them, like the 49ers run that Saleh's from that same tree. You know, he was actually in Jacksonville with Gus Bradley.
Right.
So you run that cover 3, run that 4-3. You let the guys run and move fast. And you look at, I don't know if he's going to be there, if he's up on contract, but like Nicholas Morrow with the Raiders, plays linebacker. I really like him. Can fly around, like one of the fastest linebackers in the league. Like I said, Abrams. I think Tywan Mullen's big enough. I think if he, again, he's not a great man-to-man dude. So put him in a cover 3, let him sit back.
And disrupt, challenge balls, hit, and you take advantage of the way they draft, because they draft for size and speed. That's fine. That's great. But shoot, let them play. Put them in positions to where they can succeed.
Right. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And none of the head coaches have been hired yet. All those jobs are still vacant. I know they're doing like interviews left and right. I'm seeing all the time. People getting interviewed.
Probably waiting for some of these teams, more of these teams to fall off this weekend and next.
Right. Start interviewing dudes like Bieniemy. I'm sure is on the short list.
Yeah.
I know. Brian Dable, the Bills OC, is on a list. So there's some dudes that'll get interviews. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where these pieces fall. And you know, we touched on it, Deshaun Watson. Like, I'm a 49er fan, and I'm like, go all in. Like, I don't care. Trade Jimmy and this like 2 first round. I don't even care. Go get him. Because could you put Deshaun Watson with the 49ers next year and tell me, like, people that don't pick them to win the NFC? Like, if they're healthy with that defense,
they got a defense.
Year, if Kittle's healthy,
they got a defense.
Some receivers
they can run the ball.
Like,
I can't say that they wouldn't be good. I damn sure couldn't say that, but they have a bomb ass defense. They got receivers, you know, Deebo Samuels and who's it? Ayuk. Yeah, Ayuk. And then one of the best tight ends in the league and that fast ass running back. It would work.
No, it would be. And Shanahan's one of those dudes that he schemes up stuff too. He's like, he does. You know, LaFleur, Stefanski, they scheme up dudes wide open. And so you just put, and that's the thing, you got Jimmy, what's really killed him is he can't move. And so, you know, in situations where, you know, what is Shanahan and all those dudes, they want to put guys on bootlegs. Like,
get them out.
They want to get them outside the pocket. They want to move that throwing point so that the defense can't just pin their ears back and think that's where I'm going every time. But yeah, obviously anybody that has any draft capital is going to be in on this. Especially if you could, like we talked about before, the Texans being an awful job with no draft picks this year, but especially if you could turn around and get a first and a second this year.
That would help.
You know, so obviously you're losing Deshaun. You could argue he's top 5 quarterback in the league, definitely for the future. With some older dudes going to be retiring, but
you're going to clear some cap space, and you hopefully you get some draft choices, and you start your rebuild. You know, it is what it is, and hopefully you get some. You get whoever the coach gets in there get some time. To let it. You know, come to fruition or whatever the case may be.
Right. And so, it all kind of started. Deshaun Watson was pissed off with, I guess, the hiring process for the GM. So that's kind of where he came out and started demanding a trade. And then you have Andre Johnson.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw that too.
Tweeting out, like, get out. They've
God.
won too many players there that have been superstars, and they've just wasted their careers. So, but yeah, that'll be interesting. But you got anything else?
Nah, man. Nah.
All right. Well,
Fun.
yeah, it was definitely fun. Appreciate my boy Terrence coming on again. Couple of Nobodies Podcast. Go check it out. Him and my boy Rob went to high school together, played football together. They've been doing the podcast thing for a couple of years now, so always a fun listen on that. But we appreciate the listen for this episode. This is Al Naha signing out.
Take it easy.